Greetings and good day. This is Donnie with Tech Winter, and thank you so much for joining me today. Well, guys, I recently did a thing and I went and did an upgrade to the infotainment experience in my 2011 Infiniti G25X. And today I'm here to tell you about adding CarPlay through this solution right here. Yes, this is by Carpuride. That's a mouthful, like Carpuride? I don't know. It makes me think of Magic Carpet Ride. So we may call it Magic Carpet Ride throughout this video, but today I'm here to unbox this, test it, tell you everything I like about it, and there's lots to like about it, and some kind of quirky things as well. So without any further ado, let's dive in and let's take a look. So guys, the first thing out of the gate with this is, yes, there's lots of different ways you can add CarPlay to an older car that may not have had it out of the gate. CarPlay didn't even exist in 2011, and I'm not buying a new car just to get that one feature. So I wanted to find a way to get it incorporated into my existing car. Another thing I didn't want to do is tear up the dash. There are actually some cool in-dash solutions that are out there for my specific vehicle, and probably for many of your older late model vehicles as well that don't have CarPlay already. So I wanted something that was simple, something that was very plug and play. I could plug it in, mount it to the windshield and or dashboard. Really don't want to do the dashboard in my car specifically because I just don't want to tear it up. So something that would attach to the windshield and provide a better experience. So I saw this one floating around. Several other people had mentioned it. And I will tell you right now, Carpuride did not sponsor this. I paid for this project completely out of pocket. And for the last 4 weeks, I've been testing this in my car. So I'm going to tell you about two places you could purchase this today as well. One is from Amazon if you want to get it quickly and you're going to pay a little bit more to do so. That's an option. Another one's purchasing it directly from Carpuride. If you purchase it directly from Carpuride, it's going to come from China and it's going to take approximately 2 to 4 weeks to get to you. In my experience, I did purchase it from them. I spent less, but it did take a long time to get to me. It was about 2.5 weeks until I actually received it. But it was an exciting day when it finally arrived. My first impression is this device, it's big. So the one I got is the model 103, and yes, it is a 10.3 inch model. That's where they came up with that number. I also like the aspect ratio on this. It's an incredibly widescreen view, but where I wanted to place this attached to my windshield, what I didn't want it to do is obstruct my view as I'm driving. So I liked that it was very wide, but not very tall. Special thanks to today's sponsor, ExpressVPN. Yes, if you ever find yourself in a situation where you're connected to a public Wi-Fi network, never assume that the people that are providing that to you are putting good security controls in place. That's where putting that control back into your hands with ExpressVPN is going to save your bacon every time, because it's going to provide you a secure connection between you and the websites that you may be visiting. But even when you're on your home internet, your ISP does have the ability to sell where you visit, where you go, to third-party advertisers as well. And they also have the ability to create speed lanes and speed limits for certain video content sites like a Netflix, like a Prime Video, Disney Plus, or even YouTube. That's where ExpressVPN comes into play and provides a level playing field across any streaming platform as well. So if you'd like to find out more and try it for 3 months free, check out the link in the description. And thanks again to the sponsor for today's video, ExpressVPN. So just going through that unboxing experience, you can see some of these ports that are on the side of it. It has a USB-C port. That's actually how it's powered, which does give you lots of options for actually powering it. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. But it also does have a USB-A port if you just want to plug your phone directly into it. There's also an aux jack for audio out. There's also a place to put in a backup camera if you wanted to. But powering this on for the first time, I just plugged it into a power brick I had in my kitchen. And just the power draw on it is really negligible, especially for what this provides for you. And one of those big provisions is wireless CarPlay. Yeah, so most other vehicles that I've seen up until a couple of years ago didn't even provide this. They didn't even offer this as an option. You had to hardwire in. So I like that because of that wireless CarPlay, I could continue to not even have to be like a caveman and plug a wire into my phone, because I also have a MagSafe vent mount that I just kind of attach my phone to when I get into the car, and I like that it just wirelessly charges it. And now I can also wirelessly extend that signal into CarPlay as well. So just going through some of that installation experience for me, as you can see here, I went with the windshield suction cup mount. They do have something that's a little more permanent if you want to attach something directly to the dash. In my car, I didn't want to necessarily do that because the material that the dash is made out of is kind of that soft touch. And once you start putting holes in that and sticking stuff to it, it's not going to last. And if I ever do decide to sell this car in the future, I'd like it to be in decent shape for the next person. But that suction cup mount is incredibly strong. It does a fantastic job. They also, of course, do provide a DC power adapter to USB-C inside the box. What I didn't like about it is the cable was pretty short, and I wanted to route this in a way to where you weren't going to see a ton of cabling. I didn't want it just hanging down. So I did go ahead and buy a longer USB-C that was actually an elbow angle that could then be routed along the suction cup mount down into the dash and routed around to a hidden DC port that I have in my center console. So I went a little extra above and beyond there, purchased some additional cabling to make that happen. And I'll put some links in the description to just the cables that I happen to buy, so you can check those out as well. But just powering this up, the connection process and getting this paired to my phone, incredibly easy. It does have a Wi-Fi network and a Bluetooth network that your phone has to connect to be able to allow CarPlay to work wirelessly. But in my experience, that has been very seamless. It works out of the gate every time. I haven't had any issues with it connecting. I will tell you, I don't have an Android phone, so I didn't do any of that testing for my purposes. Everything you're going to see here today is going through my iPhone. It also does have an AirPlay option where you can screen share to this thing, but dude, if you're driving, you don't need to be AirPlaying to this thing. So I've been sticking to CarPlay, and I really can't recommend that you do that, but it is a thing and it is an option. One other thing that I will tell you, and this is kind of a downside from my experience, if you are wanting to connect this for music and you want to be able to play that through your car sound system, depending on the age of your device and the options that your car has, you may have a hard time getting this to work. So Bluetooth is an option. Using an aux cable is an option. Another one is this does have a built-in FM transmitter. So in my car, I don't have an aux jack. Bluetooth is like the hands-free calling thing, which, by the way, that's not Carpuride's fault, but all it does is do voice calls. It does not do audio streaming across Bluetooth. So I was really limited to the FM transmitter option, and it's not very good. It's very crackly. It's very hard to find an open channel in the suburban area where I live, and it's not a super great experience. So I do want to tell you that on the front end. Just beware, if FM's the only option you have, it's not going to be a great option. However, this device does have its own built-in speaker. I mean, it's going to be tweeter quality. It's not going to be amazing, but it actually has been really handy for me when I'm like getting the Waze voice and, it's like the police report ahead and those notifications come through. It coming through very clearly from that, and I do appreciate it. Another, I guess, weakness with this is the microphone doesn't work super well. So that's been a frustrating point for me. Oftentimes, if I'm driving by myself, I end up putting one AirPod in and using that for the microphone, and that works 100 times better, far more effective. Along those lines, in my own car, and if you are an Infinity owner like me, there is the old iPod dock you could use if you wanted to be a caveman and plug a cord into your phone. So uncivilized, as Obi-Wan Kenobi would say. It does work, but again, I'm adding cables back and I want a wireless experience, but it does provide, at least in my experience, the best audio quality to my sound system, if that's something that matters to you. Guys, I'm knocking on 40 years old and I listen to podcasts and stuff, so I don't even know what the kids listen to today. So the music doesn't really matter so much to me. So the audio quality isn't as huge of a deal, but the FM transmitter on this thing is not great. Now, let's talk about some things that are super great about this thing, because there is a lot to like about it. Number one, the screen size on this is absolutely incredible. I love this 10.3-inch screen, and the quality on it is absolutely terrific. I'm impressed. It also has auto brightness, and for me, it does a great job in my experience of it dimming as the day's getting darker, and it's not blinding me. It goes over to night mode when I would expect it to. The screen for like Waze goes from like that light screen to that dark mode, just like I would expect with any CarPlay device, any infotainment system. It handles it very well, very seamless. I didn't have to worry about any of those settings. Another thing that I really appreciate about it is the touch responsiveness. It's very responsive when I tap on the screen. I'm able to navigate everything through CarPlay just like I would expect with any built-in system as well. And just as you can see where I've got this mounted, I want to show you just from the perspective that I have as a driver. It's not blocking my view at all. The only obstruction I have is where the suction cup is actually placed. And it's so insignificant that it's really not affecting my driving experience whatsoever. I also just like having a screen that's much closer to eye level, where I'm seeing a map where I'm getting all my information to help me with navigating through rush hour traffic, much closer to my eye level than it ever has been in the past. So huge kudos for that. And as you can see, kind of just that level where I have it in my car, I do have a built-in display that's underneath it that is not obstructed either, to where I can still see the climate controls. I can still see any of those audio controls and even the backup camera if I am going to put the car into reverse as well. That all is still working out of the box, out of the factory experience like I would expect it to. But guys, oftentimes I will try a piece of hardware for a while, and if I don't like it, I don't end up keeping it. But guys, I've been using this for about a month, and it's been absolutely fantastic, and one that I actually plan on keeping. One thing I don't like about it is that big Carpuride logo on the front. You don't have to show off your brand that much, but alas, they did. And I'm going to go ahead and deal with it. So 2 places that you can buy this online. I actually did find a promo code. If you buy this directly from Carpuride, I ended up paying about $190 for it. I'll put a link in the description with the promo code that I used. I don't know if it's going to continue to work for you today as it did for me back then, but check that out in the description. Also, if you do want to purchase this from Amazon, right now it is retailing for $329 at the making of this video. They do have a apply $50 coupon that's in place right now. They do have this coming in lower prices in some smaller form factors as well. So if you want to realize some cost savings there, you can do that as well. So I think the 2 big advantages of going directly through Amazon is you're going to get better customer support if you have any type of issues or you want to return this. And also, of course, the prime shipping. So you're not going to be waiting 2 to 4 weeks for this thing. You're going to have it within 2 days in most cases. But guys, adding CarPlay to an older vehicle does not have to be complicated. You don't have to be using a bunch of tools and ripping your dash apart when you've got a solution like Carpuride. And guys, in my experience, it's been absolutely terrific. So definitely worth checking out. And let me know in the comments if you go ahead and get this set up. I want to hear about some of your experience as well. Maybe you've got some built-in aux jacks or built-in Bluetooth streaming audio in your car. You definitely have a better audio experience than I've had. But guys, that video experience for me far outweighs any of those downsides with that audio experience. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you haven't already, I'd ask you to consider liking and subscribing and hitting that bell notification so that you're always staying up to date with new content as it's uploaded. But for now, I'm Donnie with Tech Winner, helping you make winning decisions when it comes to your tech. You guys have a great day.